What are the top 5 money-making methods in Hypixel Skyblock? Well, in today's video, we're going to be counting down the top 5 money-making methods that anyone can do in Hypixel Skyblock, basically off of my preference, but I'm also going to mention some pros and cons for each one. So, let's get into it. Coming in at number 5 is dungeons. It's very fun and interesting, not boring, unlike some of the other money-making methods on this list, and you can basically have a lot of fun playing it. It's incredibly variable, but it does have some problems, as does any money-making method. First of all, very expensive gear is required if you want to make a lot of money. If you want to be playing floor 7 or floor 6 or a lot of the popular money-making floors, well, you're going to need to be spending a lot of coins, which can make it pretty difficult to get your foot in the door. Also, it's incredibly based on RNG because, hitting things and then waiting for things to come out in chests, while it is more fun, it does rely on a lot of RNG to get the drops that will sell for a lot of coins. And it has a relatively steep learning curve for getting used to how to play dungeons and getting actually good at dungeons, because you have to learn all of the secrets, all of the strategies, and everything like that. It also requires a lot of interacting with other players, whether that be members of your dungeon party, if you have a perm party, or members that you're finding in Party Finder, which is really annoying to use. So that is also a con in favor of dungeons, but if you do have a perm party that you enjoy being around, then that could also be a pro, depending on your situation with your dungeons team. Also, different items can be nerfed relatively easily, and can become popular or unpopular as the meta changes, which makes it kind of a more inconsistent money-making method along with the RNG factor. Coming in at number 4, we have farming. Farming certain crops can be incredibly profitable, but it also comes with its own downsides. So the pros of farming are that it's very easy. You can just sit there holding 2 or 3 buttons, and you can do other things like watch YouTube or do anything else while farming. Also, some people can find farming stress relieving or relaxing, which makes it one of the better money-making methods to do if you're trying to just chill and enjoy yourself without spending too much time or effort. But it also has cons. It can get pretty boring at times and pretty expensive, both in terms of coins and time. And finally, you do sometimes need a pretty good setup to make it profitable. For example, if you want to make the most profit out of things like sugarcane farming, you are probably going to need something like a sugarcane hoe if you want to get the maximum profit. Which brings us to our next money-making method, which is mining. Coming in at number 3, mining is one of the most profitable things you can do in Hypixel Skyblock, but it comes with its own set of pros and cons. The pros is that there is massive money-making potential, especially in the crystal hollows and with gemstones. And it is very easy to learn how to do mining. You just kind of sit there and mine stuff. It's not that complicated in comparison to things like dungeons. But it also has its own cons, mainly that it can get pretty boring at times. Mining is just what it says. It's mining. You're just mining stuff. It can get really boring and not that interesting. But you can also be watching Netflix and stuff while doing it, just like you would with farming. However, it's not as passive as farming, which is why I would put that as a slightly bigger con. Because with farming, you're really just, holding 2 buttons. Like, you can hold forward and click, or W and S and click. Whereas with mining, you have to be actively looking around for things and maybe moving your mouse a bit more. But it does make a significant amount more money if you have the correct setup. Which brings us to another one of the cons. The setups for mining are really expensive. If you want a good mining setup, you could be spending anywhere up to the billions of coins to have an awesome mining setup if you're going for the highest tier drills, which is a big problem for people trying to get their foot in the door because you're not making that much money until you have a decent bit of money and time invested, similar to farming. And it is also easier to nerf than farming is, with massive panics happening when things like the gemstone nerf happened among people that just spent a lot of coins on big mining setups. However, it does have a lot more variability than farming, especially with things like commissions coming and having more options of things you can do while mining, which makes a big difference. Overall, mining is a pretty solid option, and that gives it the ranking of number 3 and is the only highest up thing on this list that you actually have to really be spending tons and tons of time in an island besides the hub for. We are back at the hub for number 2. Number 2 on this list is going to be auction flipping. There are a lot of pros to auction flipping, but also a lot of cons, because it can be relative to times. So, the pros you have that you don't actually need to spend that many coins to get your foot in the door started with auction flipping. With a lot of these other things, you need to buy expensive gear and setups, but with auction flipping, you don't really need anything. You really just need a decent bit of coins, maybe like a few mil, maybe 10 or 20 mil, to start auction flipping at the very beginning of the game. But you don't need anything crazy like billions of coins for most flips. You also keep your assets in things that are very liquid so you can sell them very quickly, as that's why you're auction flipping them, rather than having something that might take a little bit longer to sell, like a mining setup. The admins can't nerf it into the ground without massive changes, which is also really good if you're planning on learning a money-making method and sticking to it for a while. Auction flipping is also a great money-making method if you're looking for something you can do while watching something or even doing another money-making method. You can auction flip while farming, while mining, or just while watching YouTube on another tab, which makes it really appealing to people who both want to learn more about auction flipping and the Hypixel Skyblock economy, as well as people that just want to find a relaxing money-making method that doesn't require too much actual moving their hands around on the keyboard. Cons of auction flipping are that it takes a lot of effort to learn, and you will probably never fully learn how to properly do it. It's got a really steep learning curve, and you'll spend a lot of time out of game looking at spreadsheets or other websites or tools to help you with your auction flipping. It's a lot more of analyzing numbers and a lot less of actually playing a game. But it's all based on what you actually want to do. It can also be unreliable, and you can lose a lot of money doing it, so it's definitely one of the riskier money-making methods that we're going to talk about. Next up is Bazaar flipping. The pros of Bazaar flipping are that there are a lot of tutorials, so you can learn it relatively easily, or at least get a basic knowledge of it relatively. And you can do it while doing other things. You can Bazaar flip while farming, while mining, and doing other things. There's also massive profit potential. I mean massive profit potential when you're talking about Bazaar flipping. You can make tons and tons of coins on it, near infinite, as much as the amount of coins running through the Bazaar. So, it's definitely a great money-making method to know how to do. And you can get started with very little coins. You can get started with as low as like 100 coins. It will take a while to get up to some meaningful numbers, but you are technically doing the money-making method. And you can even be doubling your coins at that point, and within enough doubling cycles, you've made a ton of coins. There's also almost no gear required besides just having the Bazaar unlocked, which is a pretty basic first step. Cons are that it's not really fun for that many people, which is sort of disappointing, but one of the ways that it maintains such a good money-making method. There's a lot of math involved if you actually want to do it properly, and you'll spend a lot of time looking at spreadsheets or websites or other tools to help you actually do it properly. I personally have a bunch of mods in the game that give me extra access like these, which show me all of my orders, and these will show me the current best flips. I've got whole videos on that on my channel. There's a lot of tools for Bazaar flipping, which makes it have a slightly easier learning curve than others, but it still has a lot of problems. By the way, let me know what your favorite money-making method is down in the comments below. I really want to know if it's on this list, or if it's not, what is it, and how do you do it? So thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video on Hypixel Skyblock, please subscribe to let me know what you thought, and leave a like for the YouTube algorithm and a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.